thrilled to have here after a fun week in Indianapolis with him, Ian Rapoport, my colleague from the NFL Media Group. How you doing, Ian? Good to see you.
Man, what's going on?
I'm just taking in everything that we saw. A
lot.
So whose stock, if you will, rose? Did any of the guys who spun it have their stock rise a little bit in your estimation, the quarterbacks, or not really?
I think Penix throwing as well as he did. You watch the tape, you watch the games, you know how good these guys are.
Right.
Seeing Penix in person, I like Daniel Jeremiah examining his sort of like rotations per throw or whatever, right? Like these are the kinds of things in person that you can see. And I think, by the time the quarterback's through, there are a lot of GMs there are a lot of head coaches there, a lot of eyeballs watching. Seeing Penix throw, I think probably helped. I think J.J. McCarthy's stock is probably fine where it was. I still see him as the fourth quarterback taken, and I don't get the sense, anything really changed there. And, as far as the guys who didn't throw, didn't do anything, I'm never quite sure if that actually matters. I feel like it's a good opportunity to show what you got, but if you don't want to, it's sort of okay. You know what I mean?
So then let's jump into the timing of what's going on between the Bears and Caleb Williams, best you can tell.
Okay.
Ian, what do you have for me there?
So, my indications are that where the Bears are moving, and I don't want to say there's a decision because this is a process and I do want to respect that. But where they're moving is toward staying at 1 and taking Caleb Williams. They are going to go to his pro day on March 20th, and they're going to visit with him around there. I'm not sure if it's before or after, but it's maybe a day after. And I think that will probably round out their process. If they draft Caleb Williams at 1, which again, I would expect, but they're not done yet, then they would move to trade Justin Fields. But I do feel like they want to get a full and complete evaluation of exactly where they are in Caleb Williams before they do anything with Justin Fields. So while some of us, let's just say for the sake of argument, me, would like all of these deals done as soon as possible, I'm not sure it's going to be as soon as possible.
But the whole problem for the Bears would be any market for Justin Fields could include Atlanta, Denver, the Raiders, obviously New England. What if any of those teams next week, when the new league year opens, goes and fills those vacancies to the point where they're not going to flip draft capital for Justin Fields and have to make a fifth-year option decision on him? They're just going to go ahead and get somebody in the free agent market. No?
I understand what you mean, and I would agree with that certainly someone could move on. But the thing that would work in Fields' favor is where do you go, right? So if you're a team, let's say where Kirk Cousins goes, I think in a long way determines where Justin Fields is going to go. He seems to be, to me, like the first domino, right? Like if Cousins goes back to Minnesota, then perhaps a team like, let's just say the Falcons would be interested in Justin Fields. If the Falcons get Kirk Cousins, then I think there's a couple other teams. Maybe it is the Vikings if they don't if they don't feel like they can get a quarterback in the draft. Maybe it's Steelers. Maybe the Raiders would, I guess, be a little more of a remote possibility. Those teams would then be interested, but I don't think someone's going to say, you know what, I can't get Fields, I'm just going to move. I think almost the other way is that if the Bears aren't trading Fields yet, then I think that would hold up the quarterback market because it does seem like it goes, if we assume Baker signs with Tampa, which, there's mutual interest, there's no deal, but there is mutual interest. If we assume that happens, then I feel like it goes Cousins, then Fields. I think everybody would wait.
And what's the scoop with the medical here? Because that is a crucial aspect of this. As we know, we found out Kool-Aid McKinstry had a fracture. Yep. These happen all the time where somebody goes and takes a physical, like, hey, you got a broken bone? and so not saying that would happen for Caleb, but how you have any thoughts on or knowledge about has he taken a physical? Has he handed out a physical from his own physician to teams that are interested now? What do you have on that?
So I want everyone to throw at the combine, right? I am not just that I'm an NFL Network employee, but I love the combine.
Yes.
And I want guys to go there and throw it. I don't think it hurts you at all. I think at the very least, it's a great PR opportunity. Also, it's fun and I like fun things. The medical thing to me is a little different because what can happen, Rich, is let's say Caleb does the medical. And first of all, you can only do this if you're the top 1%, right? So we're not talking about like, a guy who's getting drafted in the second round or the sixth round. We're talking about the number one quarterback. If he does his physical, then anyone who wants can poke and prod him. Anyone who wants can order an MRI. I would never say a team would do this. But let's just say a team in the division is like, you know what? I'm going to create some doubt. I'm going to ask for an MRI in his right shoulder because I'm just curious. Like, that could happen and actually does happen. And I think, if I remember correctly, I think with Jameis Williams, who's had no arm issues or anything, I think someone asked for an extra MRI, even though we all knew at that point he was going one. I could be wrong, but I'm almost positive that happened. Like, so I think what he does now, he's going to go visit the Bears and maybe some other teams, do a physical there. They can get whatever they want, but he's not going to let like any other team that has a quarterback get a look at him just because you never know what could happen. And I think there is a thought of like, it's definitely the Bears' business. If the Bears trade, it might be that other team's business. But absent that, I don't know.
Ian Rapoport here on the Rich Eisen Show. Okay, let's turn to the Dallas Cowboys because you made some news, or they made some news, I guess, where you had Tyron Smith now parting ways with the team and vice versa. And that doesn't strike me as all in. You're not going to go all in with your quarterback by sending off his main protector and a potential Ring of Honor type guy. What are the Cowboys up to right now, Ian?
I do think he's a Ring of Honor type guy. Tyron Smith is awesome, and he played really well this year. Came back, has had a couple injury-plagued seasons, but came back, played really well. I think he's going to get paid at a market where nobody has those guys. Like, it's hard to find a really good offensive lineman. The Cowboys did draft to that position. They do have Tyler Smith, and I don't know what for sure they're going to do, but I would be surprised if they don't play him at left tackle.
Right.
So if you're the Cowboys, you want to go a little bit cheaper. You want to get with a little bit of a youth movement. There's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, we're just going to move on to the younger guy we drafted. And I think Tyler Smith is a really good player. It's just, and these are the hard decisions that if you want to continue this, and teams like, for years, the Patriots did it. The Ravens are great at it. Chiefs sort of did it with Tyreek Hill. If you have confidence in your draft, then you can say, you know what? We're going to avoid paying this very good but very expensive older veteran, and we are going to go youth because we trust ourselves and our coaching. And I think that's where the Cowboys are. There's a lot of other questions with the Cowboys, I think, but to me, the Tyron Smith decision felt like it was mutually beneficial.
Okay, so the old Belichick, send a player off that you adore earlier rather than too late. I get it.
Yes.
What are you hearing about Dak? Is it really possible that the Cowboys are not going to extend him and let him play for damn near $60 million this year because they want him to have basically prove it after all the years of coming up short of the championship game?
Jerry Jones kind of opened the door. And I would never want to put words in his mouth, but his own words were basically like, we'll see what we do. And if you look across the landscape of the league, no other team that has a quarterback deal, is up for a quarterback deal has said that. Dolphins haven't said it. Jaguars haven't said it. Last year, Chargers, Bengals didn't say it. Cowboys said, we'll see what we do. And yeah, I'll see what they do too, because the thought of him, it's not $60 million, it's $60 million cap hit,
right,
which is actually worse. But could they not extend him? Like, according to the words of Jerry Jones, it seems possible. But, here's the thing to me is like, the Vikings are sort of in the same place with Kirk Cousins. Could they re-sign Dak next year? Absolutely. Sure they could.
Yeah.
They also could not. And that's a scary thing because, a franchise quarterback is very hard to find. Look around the league and just check out who has been trying to get one for years and years. There's no guarantee you get one. So it's a scary proposition. Not many teams would do it, but that seems to be at least a possibility for the Cowboys.
But my point about this, Ian, is, and we didn't have time to have this conversation during the combine yesterday, but for to go all in, I thought that meant extend your quarterback, and now you've got the capability to get some serious free agents. Because if you're honestly, like how can you fill out this roster to win now with more fuel if you're going to just say, all right, it's more important for me to see Dak do it under pressure and then be free to walk away from him than it is to try and go all in with other people to win this year?
Because the Cowboys say words a lot, and Jerry Jones says words a lot.
Yes.
And it doesn't always match what actually happens. And if you watch the Cowboys the last 8 years, as far as like economics go, they have been very forward thinking. They have extended their own players. They have drafted extremely well. And they have always done everything with a long-term view in mind. They never lock themselves in. Right now, does it hurt them? Yeah, sometimes it hurts them. They waited too long in the Dak Prescott contract, and they got hit pretty hard by his agent, Todd France. I mean, they did. They did. And it might happen again. And, the last time Dak was up for a new deal, it was a great deal for the player, a fantastic deal for the player. That could happen again. But them going all in, to me, was never realistic. They don't do that. They are smart. They are savvy. They are long range. They pick around the edges. They do deals like Stephon Gilmore, which they didn't give up a lot for, and they didn't pay him a lot, and he's a veteran, and he was like, that's more what I would expect from them, mostly because they've drafted so well, they have to pay their own guys rather than other teams' guys. All
right, the few minutes I have left with you, Russell Wilson, what's the latest there, and what do you think the Broncos' plan is for him and at quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the plan is, everything I've heard has been to move on without him. We'll see when that official decision comes, but that's the direction it's going. I don't think that would be a surprise. Now, they've kept open the possibility of keeping him, but everything I've heard has been, probably move on. So if that's the case, they get crushed on the cap. They will probably not be able to spend a lot for a quarterback. So they have Jarrett Stidham, who they like. They also have some other high-priced guys. We'll see what they do with them there. But, if you have Stidham and you're looking for some competition, you're probably looking more in the realm of like Jacoby Brissett, Sam Darnold, those kind of guys. So I would say that's probably what they're looking at. And look, if Jarrett Stidham is good enough to be a starting quarterback, they are going to be fine this year. That's a great place to be. They just, he just will have to prove it.
And then are they in the market for a rookie as well with 12th overall, or you're not getting that sense?
Well, are they in the market for it? Yes. I just don't know where, because let's say quarterbacks go 1, 2, 3, and let's say J.J. McCarthy's a top 10 pick, which, tell you what, leaving the combine, I think he is. Like, I didn't think so going in, but leaving the combine, I think he is, which is awesome and makes it very tough for teams like the Broncos to say, we'll just stick at 12 and pick one, because, is it Penix? I don't know right now if 12 is high or not, but I don't know who would be if they just stick and take one. Now, the Broncos have showed a willingness to trade up in the past. Traded up for Marcus Davenport, for instance, a couple of years ago when Peyton was with the Saints. So he has traded up before. But to get a quarterback, maybe you have to.
And your guess, if quarterbacks go 1, 2, 3, New England takes the third, or what? What's the likelihood there?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Yes.
Elliot Wolf is the new de facto GM there. Yes. And obviously he's got a track record, and I think he's extremely good, and I think he will be extremely good. But he's always worked for someone. So it's tough for me to know what was his and what were other people's. So I can't look and say, well, obviously the Patriots will. I think they are open. I think teams will try to trade up. But if you're the Patriots, the only question that actually matters, you can forget about the draft haul. Who cares? It's going to be a lot. If they trade out from 3, it's going to be a lot. The only thing that matters is, did they just trade away the chance to take a franchise quarterback? And if they believe that they are going to get a franchise quarterback at 3, I think they don't trade. If they believe that the package is so much that they're willing to give up on the chance of someone being a franchise quarterback, that's a different story. So that's what the decision is. It's like, where do they stand in their quarterback evaluations? And, and then the other thing is, like, are they just a team that, you know what? They just have more needs. Like quarterback is they just have so many needs. They have to get going and figure out the quarterback later. There's a lot going on in New England as far as kind of rebuilding this thing, and I'm not sure which way they're going to go.
Exactly. I mean, the Giants too, right? I mean, that's something I heard at the Combine is that they are 1,000,000% in the quarterback drafting market this year.
I mean, I would expect them at least to do all the quarterback homework. They met with all the quarterbacks at the Combine. They did the official meetings. And, I'm sure it'll create a thing. It always creates a thing. But this is their job, right? I mean, if you're Joe Shane, the general manager of the Giants, this is your job to evaluate everything, to evaluate the quarterbacks, to see what's behind door number 2. No one has ever been hurt by over-evaluating, ever. And so if the worst thing that comes out of it is a couple of headlines, like, okay, but they have to look into it. They should look into it, and I think that will probably come as well.
All right, so then by the end of April, then what's more likely? Saquon still on the Giants or a rookie quarterback is? Ian?
Well, we're going to find out on Saquon. Well, I think first of all, we're going to find out on Saquon soon. Franchise tag window is closing 4:00 tomorrow. They have said they are open to tagging him. If that's the case, then you keep a really good player for a little more than $12 million and hopefully get a long-term deal. If that is not the case, he goes to free agency. And, if you decide to let your own guy go in free agency, I'm not saying they can't get him back because they could, but it rarely happens. Like, rarely does a guy go into free agency and comes back. Like, usually if he goes, he goes. So I think if they want to keep him, the tag is certainly a way to keep him. Is it more than you'd like to pay? Probably, but sometimes it's not that bad of an option. We'll see what they end up doing, by tomorrow at 4:00.
All right, then in the last minute, how many tags is your prediction or you're hearing? What do you think? I know you're not really in the prediction business, but what do you got? You're looking out that window?
I'm looking at my board.
What do you got your board? Is he got a board to your left? Look at you. Okay.
I always have a board.
Okay.
That's how I keep track of everything.
He's not going to show you
and
this
then
board.
And then when a deal gets done,
yeah,
what the best thing is? You get to erase it.
Nice.
That's the good stuff.
So who's on your board? Who's on your board that you think?
All the tag possibilities are on my board. I would say probably 6 to 8. There'll be a bunch.
Okay.
I haven't added it up yet, being totally honest.
Okay.
Plus there might be some deals that could happen.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Ian, thanks for the time, brother. You be well. We'll see you down the road.
All right.
Take care.
Good hanging, Rich. Take care, man.
Right back at you. That's at Rap Sheet. The one and only Ian Rapoport.
The Rapoport.
The Rapoport. Yeah. Ian Rapoport?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.